number 1. This story happened to me back in September, and I'll start out by saying that I am one of the most paranoid people I've ever known. I still make my parents watch me when I leave their house to make sure I get to the car if it's dark. I carry pepper spray at all times, and if I'm home alone, the slightest noise outside freaks me out, even though we have a ton of stray neighborhood cats traveling through the yard. I also have a rule. I never, ever answer the door to anyone I do not closely know if I'm home alone. Not even neighbors. In fact, my sheer paranoia is one of the reasons people don't take me too seriously when I panic about things anymore. A neighbor once showed up at my door and knocked on it while I was home alone after dark, and when I didn't answer, he went to the side door and knocked as well. This sent me into a complete panic, calling and texting my boyfriend while he was at work, and probably annoying him to no end, although at the time I had no idea it was a friendly neighbor, just returning some of our mail he had gotten by mistake. He still teases me about this sometimes. He also knows that once he has left for the day, I lock the doors, and that if he is going to come home early, either on break or to get something he forgot, that I will probably freak out if he doesn't call and let me know first. I know my fears are sometimes irrational, but it drives me nuts that he forgets to let me know when he's on his way home all the time. I guess that's why on this particular day, I almost opened the door to a suspicious stranger. I had just returned home from school that day, and I was about to start getting ready for work when I saw the doorknob turning like someone was about to walk in my house. Since there was no knock, I assumed it was my boyfriend just showing up again, and then I went to let him in. Now my doorknob, for some reason, still turns pretty far when it's locked, and you try to turn it, it just doesn't open. I think it's just old, but from the other side you can definitely see it turning and not just jiggling. Thankfully, we had recently gotten a new puppy who screwed up the bottom part of our blinds, allowing us to see the ground, and right before I opened the door, I noticed that he was just wearing regular shoes I did not recognize, and not the work boots my boyfriend wears to work every day. As soon as I realized it was not my boyfriend on the other side, I immediately stepped back from the door and walked into the next room to grab my pepper spray, just in case they forced their way in. That's when he finally started knocking. He knocked for what felt like several minutes, but was probably only 30 seconds. Still more than just a standard knock twice and wait for an answer. I don't know why, but for once in a real potentially dangerous situation, I was very calm. It was almost as if survival instincts kicked in, but something compelled me to remain very quiet, very calm, and just send a few quick texts to my mom and boyfriend explaining the situation, and then I thought I would just wait for the person to leave. I reasoned with myself that it could be something innocent, a door-to-door salesman, a neighbor dropping off mail again, and while this does not explain the turning of the handle before even knocking, I was just reminding myself that I had allowed myself to completely flip out many times before about things that turned out to be completely innocent. At this point, my puppy and my larger dog, who has a really nasty bark, are going absolutely nuts, barking loudly at whoever was on the other side of the door. And then, as quickly as they came, they were gone. Once he was a good distance away from the door, I peeked through the side of the blinds in the living room to see who had been there, and this is when I realized it could have really been someone dangerous. I see a man in regular clothes, jeans and a dirty t-shirt, walking very quickly back to a car that was in the middle of the road. The car was still running, with the door open, and another man in the driver's seat. As soon as he got back in the car, he no more than shut the door when the car sped away. The first red flag to me was trying to enter without knocking. The second was the dirty street clothes, and a regular car not marked by any company, ruling out a business-related visit. The biggest red flag was the car still running, door open, as if preparing for a quick getaway. My town is a private Facebook group for members of the community to post on about general things that could be of use to our community members. I posted in the group that people should be careful who they open their doors to, and explained what had happened to me. Several comments I received said that friends had informed them of situations similar to this in the same general area, and I had not provided my street name. But one commenter gave an example of this happening to someone on the street behind mine within the last 2 weeks. Same description, car running, waiting for him in the road, and then speeding off. Makes me think they probably had ill intentions, whether it be abduction Robbery? I'm not entirely sure. Thank God for my naughty puppy screwing up my blinds and saving me from opening my door to a suspicious stranger. We were pretty mad at the time, but she may have saved me from getting abducted, robbed, or even worse. Number 2. I've been reading around this subreddit for a while now, and I'm a pretty keen observer, but through reading accounts of shit on here, I've become a lot more paranoid about certain things, and I think today is the day it paid off. I live in a basement apartment of a somewhat older building, at least 100 years old, I figure. There was no front door entrance to it, only 2 side entrances, which tenants can use to reach the laundry room, and 1 back door into the building, which only I have the key for, along with the building managers. I've only used the back door a few times, and that was for moving furniture in and out, because my side entrances are impossible to use for stuff like that, because the stairwell is so steep and the walls so narrow. Otherwise, I never use that back door. Where I live, it's really snowy at the moment. Lots of ice and shit everywhere. 2 days ago, when I left through my usual side door, I noticed that there was a shoveled path to the back of the building, which literally no one has a single reason to do or be back there. There was nothing back there for use. Only a door to get into my apartment, like I said. But I thought this was highly suspicious. But I chalked it up to whoever the contractor for snow removal was just trying to be thorough and clear a path to the back, because surely they don't know who uses that back door or not. They have no reason to. Only a door to get into my apartment, like I said. But I thought this was highly suspicious. There's actually a porch that can help you get into the main hallway, too. But that door is as locked down as can be. No one knows that but tenants. Anyways, ever since the shoveled snow, I've been a bit more suspicious. 3 weeks ago, someone stole my motorcycle from the driveway, close to the back door. Probably no more than 20 feet away. And it puts me on high alert, because obviously I'm fucking pissed, and violated that someone went as far as to steal my motorcycle from my driveway under video surveillance. Of course, the camera was broken, not set up right, so there was actually no recorded footage, only a big camera pointing at you. I've been a bit more suspicious. 3 weeks ago, someone stole my motorcycle from the driveway, close to the back door, probably only 20 feet away, and it's put me on high alert, because obviously I'm fucking pissed, and violated that someone went so far as to steal my bike from my driveway under video surveillance. Unfortunately, the cameras were broken, not set up right, so there actually was no recorded footage, only a big camera pointing at you. 2 nights ago, I stayed up literally almost all night reading stories on here, because I couldn't sleep as it was. But reading the stories didn't make me feel any better about that. But it's all put me on hyper-awareness. So last night around 10:30 p.m. or so, I let my little dog outside for the last time of the night. I hadn't slept in 36 hours or so. Like I said above, I was ready to pack it up. When I came back from letting my dog out, I took a look at the back door and realized that the deadbolt was disengaged, which sort of unnerved me. That's highly unusual because there's no need for it to be disengaged. Even more than that, there was a key broken off inside the deadbolt. So I have literally no way to lock that bitch at the moment. My alarms are going off on all levels. I figure there's a chance that it's nothing, but as an extra measure, I put a big-ass brick in front of the door so that if anyone opened the door, the brick would move and I'd know that someone used the door because of it. Then I went to bed. 3 o'clock in the morning comes, and my little dog starts barking her fucking head off. I think to myself, fuck no. No one comes down to the basement at 3 a.m. The laundry room is across the hall from my apartment, but no one is doing laundry at 3 a.m. unless they're a meth head, and I heard no laundry being done. I get up and get close to our main door, being very quiet, letting my dog bark. My dog is a dachshund, by the way. Big bark, little bite, and it's noticeable. As I approach my door, I hear the doorknob jiggle a bit, but thankfully I engaged my deadbolt before bed. I'm freaking the fuck out at this point. Thankfully, I've sort of prepared for this sort of situation in my mind. 1,000 times I've anticipated someone coming down, trying to open my door. Because I live in the city and there are shitty people who do shitty things, like break into people's homes. I stand back from the door and yell to the man that I have a Glock 9mm in my hands, ready to unload with lethal force. The police are on their way. They actually weren't. I was so amped up I didn't think about it at the time. If you attempt to enter my premises, I will kill you. I then heard footsteps book it the fuck out of there, up the side stairs, and gone into the night. This morning I filed a complaint with my apartment complex, demanding that they change the locks and take care of the situation. Lastly, here's a picture of my big-ass foot in comparison to one of the footprints they left. I post this in case anyone thinks I'm lying for whatever reason. I realize that my foot is long enough to be these, but my feet are fucking huge and wide. There's no way I could have had that narrow of a sole. Let's hope we don't meet again, fool. Next time, I'll fucking kill you. Thank you, everyone on this sub, for sharing your stories. You really saved my ass on this one. Number 3. I was living in my first apartment post-college with my fiancé and my Siamese cat. My fiancé worked nights sometimes, and my little Siamese was the chillest, meekest little cat ever. The apartment was the top floor of a rehabbed house. It once had been an attic. All the walls were angles, and the windows were in the eaves. Too cool when you're post-college. Also super cheap. The front door was at the bottom of a flight of steep wooden stairs, and opened onto the external concrete landing at the back of the house. The back of the house was a wooded lot with some other houses nearby, but none in direct line of sight. I was used to my boyfriend coming home late. I would be dead asleep when I'd hear his key in the lock, and his feet coming up the wooden stairs. One night my tiny little shadow of a Siamese cat took to meowing. I could hear her sitting at the bottom of the stairs, where the door opened, meowing every few seconds in a soft, questioning, but very, very insistent way. Silence. Meow. Silence. Meow. Just barely insistent enough to bring me half awake at 2:45 to 3 a.m. I was lying there wondering what the fuck? I couldn't even form coherent thoughts, just vaguely registered the meowing in the completely dark house, in a stupor sleep state. Then I heard it. The doorknob at the foot of the stairs was turning, gently. Someone was outside on the back stoop, in the dark, unobservable from the street, gently twisting the knob this way, then that. Click, click this way, then that. I could barely hear them doing it. I wasn't 100% sure I was hearing it correctly. Then they tried it again, twisting softly, pushing gently, thump, thump as the door barely moved in the jam, then twisting the knob this way and that way again. Click, click. I shot up 150% wide awake. I sat up in bed, gently put my feet on the floor, and my cat raced up the stairs and sat down and looked at me like, "Finally, human, come on, do something." She was completely silent after that. I stepped quietly onto the floor, called my boyfriend to ask if he was trying to get in the back door and had lost his keys. He said no. What the fuck? He wasn't even in the same state. Overnight delivery driver was his job. He said, "Hang up, call 911 right now, get the handgun, turn on every light in the house, but stay away from the windows." And then he told me to call him right back and remain on the phone with him until the cops arrived. I immediately acted. The door rattling stopped, and then the cops came. They kind of beat the bushes in a circle around the house. Said it was probably just a homeless person trying to get in from the cold. When both our downstairs neighbors and my fiancé were away, maybe, but still, it's not like it would take days of super sleuthing to connect one car to me, the other cars to the others, and deduce there was a woman there, all alone. They said they would increase the patrols on the street for the night. My fiancé raced home an hour and a half early from his night delivery run, and also circled the house, yard, and lot on foot. Marine reconnaissance boyfriends are pretty awesome. Till that night, I had never known my sweet little Siamese was actually a guard cat in disguise. I'd heard stories of cats waking their family up in fires or carbon monoxide situations, but figured those were already aggressive, extroverted, attention-seeking type cats. My meek little scaredy cat would disappear when people came over, and was like a little unseen shadow, but she threw down that night in her own way. that she went back to being an unassuming cat. But I knew if she hadn't deliberately woken me up, I wouldn't have heard it. Even my fiancé, who wasn't a cat person, was impressed. It never happened again, but ever since then I cannot stand to live on ground floor apartments. I require a second or third floor like that one was, because I knew until the cops arrived, there was no way into that place, and I was standing at the head of those stairs, armed. Creepy door rattler, trying to get into a house when a woman was alone. Let's never meet again. Thanks for watching, guys. Please make sure to leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe to the Sinful Society if you haven't done so already. I hope you guys are all having an amazing holiday season. I hope everyone's enjoying the winter weather, wherever they may be. Make sure to be safe and have safe travels this season. If you guys have any New Year's Eve horror stories, send them my way as soon as possible. I really want to feature your stories on a New Year's Eve special, so please get those in as soon as you can. Remember, my email is in the description box below. Thanks for all the support, guys. We're almost to 6,000 subscribers now. It's pretty awesome. I'm really proud of all the time and all the support that you guys have put in for my channel. Really makes everything all that more worthwhile. Without each and every one of you, this would mean nothing, and this channel would be nothing. So, I want to thank every single person that watches me and comments and supports me on a daily basis.